All right, and we are back on the program with Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Moses Kuria. CS? So it's good to still have you with us. I just want to incorporate some of the feedback that we've heard from our viewers here on the program tonight, and then we can move to the next conversation that I want us to touch on. So this is from Professor Migaya Kech, who says, every decision that the government makes must be made in a manner that is democratic, meaning in this instance, its taxing decisions must be rational and take into account the views of the public. And the government must explain how it has taken them into account by giving us reasons, especially a report explaining how it considered all the views that the people gave on the tax bill. He says citizens do not cede their sovereignty merely because they have elected a government. We must examine the government's taxing decisions from this perspective.
Today was the last day of public participation. So he's right. That's what we've been doing. The finance bill has not passed. The finance bill, the people's representatives, who are the MPs, have been doing public participation. As executive, we give them our vision, our view of what it is. The final say is with the Parliament. In that Parliament, the National Assembly, which is looking at this issue, we have got 348 members, out of which 336 were voted for by the people. Only 12 members were nominated, and even then were nominated on the basis of the votes received by the parties. So those people there, those wonderful men and women who are there from all regions of this country and from all parties, are going to have the final say on this. They have presented to everybody. We have persuaded them. You've seen PS Chris Kiptoo in that Parliament as part of public, giving views to public participation.
Well, he wasn't part of the public.
He was part of the public, because it was part of public participation.
Well, no.
It was public participation. He was giving his views. The point I'm making,
but the PS for Treasury is not there as a member of the public.
What was he there as?
He is there as Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Treasury.
In a forum,
that formulates...
In a forum for public participation.
But not as a member of the public.
Well, he was there to persuade the committee. He was there to, he didn't go there and say, you people, I'm holding a gun over you.
Was he there to persuade the committee?
He was there.
Hang on. Or was he there to explain the rationale
Absolutely.
of the finance bill? It's the difference.
I don't know what is wrong with Mr. Kihio, my English teacher. Is explaining the rationale, not the same thing as persuading. Maybe he went to the wrong school. But anyhow, that is the whole essence, You explain the rationale so that you persuade them. The point I am making is, finally, they have the last say. Every member of parliament, you are a member of parliament, my member of parliament, everybody's members of parliament who have the last say in that finance bill. That's how democratic we are, because we come up with what you call, a draft position. It's a zero draft. And then we say, look here, this is how we want to do it. But, you people represent the people.
Okay.
Yeah? And in that house there, because it's not a military dictatorship, finally they will vote, and democracy will have its way. If some of our proposals, if Parliament in its wisdom thinks otherwise, we will oblige as a democratic and sensitive and responsive government.
So you're placing the buck on Parliament?
It is with Parliament now, yeah.
Here's a question. All development is being driven by tech. Countries like India and Bangladesh are reducing the costs of digitized and electronic services to facilitate greater participation in technically or technologically enabled operations. Won't increasing taxes on these services exclude the poor and the hustler? And in line with that, the government has been keen on digitizing services. I think over 5,000 now have been digitized. And when you raise taxes, on internet and data access.
Through that, I have a question. Show me one tax where show me one service where we tax more for doing things digitally as opposed to doing things manually. Then I'll be persuaded. One, just tell me this one. If you do it manually, you pay 5%. If you do it digitally, you pay 7%.
It is the access to those services.
No, exactly my point. What I'm saying,
which would be when
in this world, increasingly, services which were being done manually are going to be done digitally. So, in fact, today, it is a big disproportion between services and or trade that is offered digitally and that is offered manually. There could be an increase, but it's very far away from even a sense of parity. I wish you would say, if I go and buy goods from a shop, I pay X amount of money, but if I pay it online or from e-commerce or from whatever service, it is way, way below. We are still way below because it has not grown at the same pace as manual services, because we still are market global leader in matters digitization. But it is not true to say that you are taxing more for digital services. And if that be the case,
but I think
if that be the case, please point me to one service where we are taxing more for a service offered digitally than a service offered manually for the same service.
It's not that you're taxing more on the service, but it's taxing more on the access to that service, which is the internet, right? So
yes,
if you increase the cost of the internet,
true,
then
but still far way below.
Okay.
Still far way below the comparison that you'd make on the manual part of it. You know, just to have a fair conversation. Because the issue is not increase from X to Y. The issue is, if I offer this service, for example, manually, and I offer it digitally, what is the comparison? I think we need to broaden that discussion.
Okay. I want us to move now to other conversations that are of national importance and that have been the topic of discussion in the country lately. Earlier on when we started this program, we talked about the differences or the rift, if you like, between the retired president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and the current president, Dr. William Ruto. So you say there is no bad blood?
There is.
But we saw that even before, the election, the campaign season. And there was quite a bit of...
Everybody had the democratic right. That has not been this bad blood. Because, we are extremely busy people with so many challenges, including the questions you are asking here, which luckily my good friend Uhuru Kenyatta had his time to answer those questions. So for us, it is really a mismatch of expectations, because for us, we have a country to run. For us, we have got challenges. We have challenges of food. We have challenges of healthcare. We have challenges of education. So it really would be, where would we even get time to fight with Uhuru Kenyatta? Where?
CS, from what we saw yesterday, and now a committee has been put together of which you are a part, would you say that that sets a bad precedent in terms of undermining the spirit of the Constitution, where it would seem two important holders of one office now have to address each other in the media, and forming a committee that you said at the start of this program does not necessarily follow the law of the Retired President's Beneficiaries Act, but is rather an act of bending backwards to give retired President Uhuru Kenyatta what he's asking for?
I think this issue is really a storm in a teacup. It's really a much ado about nothing, really, because we have got a country run by laws. We have got a country run by a constitution, and we also have avenues for resolving whatever grievances somebody would feel, rightly or wrongly, that they have not been done. I believe that the retired president, should have done it better. But nonetheless, what are we saying? We are saying that given the challenges of finance bill, challenges of budget, challenges of we just coming from flooding, challenges of that we are in a planting season, challenges that we have got JSS, challenges, where would you find space for one individual in a country of 53 million people? So the less said about that, the better.
Okay. Yet, just about 2 years into this administration, we're seeing again issues, those that you say should not be paid attention to, then cropping up again. Now we've got a seeming spat between President William Ruto and his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua. It would seem that history is repeating itself. What, in your view, is the state of the relationship between the president and his deputy?
Unlike William Ruto, who didn't have the only duty for William Ruto that was defined and implemented was principal assistant to the president when he was the deputy president. The current deputy president is a very fortunate man. He chairs cabinet committees. And let me say, Rigathi Gachagua has done incredibly well in management of the cabinet committees. Remember, I'm in charge of performance. I look at how we are performing overall in different areas. One of the areas that are performing very well is our cabinet process. When we go to cabinet, we expedite and execute business much faster and in a more expedient way because we do sort of brainstorming in the cabinet committees chaired by the deputy president, which William Ruto did not have as a deputy president. So he's very fortunate. The deputy president is in charge of development partners. Remember, look at our space, look at our fiscal space. Look at the issues we're discussing here, even here. You need to get 1 billion shillings, my friend, in a budget of 4 trillion. It is a song. You can't get. So the space of our development partners is very, very important that they have to come in when we have disasters and all that. All that is chaired by one fortunate guy called Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president. The deputy president has been assigned duties to do with coffee, to do with tea. He's leading our efforts in battles against alcoholism. So he is in charge of state honors, yeah? Giving people some, for example, all members of cabinet are now having EGH honors as it should be, except myself. I'm not complaining about that, but that is chaired by the deputy president. He's such a privileged man who, even given the history of where we have come, remember, he's the second deputy president of the 2010 Constitution. Yeah. He's the second one. Yeah. We've only had one experiment. So he is the second one. And what we need to do, just like we do in jurisprudence, that, we also create our culture or our through precedents, Now we have the Ruto president, now we have got the Rigathi Gachagua president, to be the second deputy president, because the others were vice president, is such an honor and such a great calling. Remember, and I campaigned along Rigathi Gachagua. We came a long way in the then so-called Taga movement. There were so many of us who are qualified, men and women, like Anne Waiguru, like Alice Wahome, like Dindi Nyoro, like J.B. Muturi, like Kindiki Kidure, who could have qualified for that position. So again, the president, you remember, most of the people were not favoring Rigathi Gachagua, especially the whatever. It's the president who said, no, I want this guy. So let me put it this way. I think from where I sit, there's nothing, I don't have empirical evidence of any problem between the president and the deputy president. I don't have empirical evidence.
Okay.
Two, if there would be any, the burden of resolution would be on that very fortunate man called the deputy president, the man who ought to bend backwards, the man who ought to say that the other guy didn't have the privilege of having defined duties like the Nairobi River Commission, like having independent officers, like having this and that. The man who was picked almost through a lottery.
But yet,
he was picked through a lottery.
But yet, CS, with all of this, he then says, and he's on record as saying that there are people around the president who are seeking to drive a wedge between the two of them. He has said he sees darkness ahead. I mean, you've seen this. In fact, you were in Nakuru this, a couple of days ago, speaking on the issue of unity. So why would a man that you say is particularly fortunate in this, then just less than 2 years into this new administration, be saying that there are people wedging
when you accuse
a rift?
When you accuse people of wedging a rift, it means they are wedging a rift to influence the president. That is indicting the judgment value or capabilities of the president. Because for you to want to influence somebody, you cannot influence somebody who is not influenceable. You cannot influence somebody who has got no power to make rational, right decisions. True, you can accuse me of attempting to influence the cameraman there, to turn the camera this way or that way. But then that way, you also indicting the cameraman, because you're saying the cameraman has got no power of choosing or the power of rational. So this issue of, let me just broaden this discussion. The president has got a very big team, a large team. I refer you, Yvonne, and I want you to, after this show, you go and Google, and maybe pray for your viewers. My speech on the 20th of May, 2022, at the residence of the Deputy President William Ruto in Karen. That is the day on the 15th of May. Sorry, just to be precise, on the 15th of May 2022 is the day on a Sunday that we named Rigathi Gachagua as a running mate. And this is what I said, and I want you to go and replay that speech. I said that the Deputy President is a unfortunate man. Those were my words on the 15th of May 2022. And I said he's a unfortunate man who has to choose between a very wide team of very gifted, talented, and competent people, but unfortunately he has to come up with one person. I still stick to my words. The president had such a wide team, as I said, more than 2 years ago, that he had within that wide array of people to choose from. It was even, it was a challenge of Bohemian proportion.
Was
that he had to choose one.
The right man?
Was William Ruto the right person to make that decision? Yes. Was there any empirical formula? I'm sure the president had his whatever. Were the other people less qualified? No. As I'm saying, people can have different views. Some people think he was a deserving person. Others think he got the position through lottery. And, the jury is still out.
So how do you think he should manage this issue? Because you're saying he's fortunate, he's been given much more than was there, during the first term of what we're calling this experiment, which was the first presidency under the Constitution 2010. He's obviously unhappy about something. How do you think he should manage it in the context in which we're in? Because it is, taking part, on national stages and, is becoming part of our national discourse.
The unfortunate thing with this conversation, the very unfortunate thing is that we should be talking about ourselves and individuals. All of us are aggrieved in different ways. I am not very happy with the way I get treated all the time. As I've told you, I'm still holding the medal that I was given by Kibaki in 2009. Yeah, and I'm very proud of it.
Are you unhappy that
No, I'm not unhappy.
No, I'm just...
Assuming I'm unhappy.
Okay,
Yvonne,
yes. So let's assume you're unhappy. So first...
What has that got to do with the country of Kenya?
Okay, so my first...
How can I drag my personal unhappiness and tribulation to the mission of a team that we work together to prove a point that we can lead this country better, that we can be able to drive this country forward? What has got my personal frustration got to do with that? What has got my personal feeling got to do with that? If I have an argument with my wife in the morning, why would I come and make it part of the nation? More important, why would I make it part of a team that we said we've got a point to prove and we want to show that we can be able to transform this country and move it forward? Moving this country forward is much more superior and much more important than how I feel as a person as Moses Kuria.
So you disagree with the Deputy President?
I think he should be managing it better. He's my very close, very personal friend, and I plan, when in the fullness of time, I'll have a conversation with him.
Okay. Let me ask you about this debate that has also come up in, in the country, the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. And this is being pushed primarily by the Deputy President. Is this really the issue, or is it a pretext to...
It's a red herring. It's a red herring. This is how it's a red herring. Mm-hmm. 1, and I think even Kimani Chong was it the other day, and I've been in this studio of yours. The good thing is that this is a country of records. And I was the pioneer of this discussion. In this studio, I have fought many battles. Yeah? Why I think, and I think I was here with Jeff Konanga some few weeks ago, and I said, why I think this is a dishonest conversation, is that 1, for example, me, who pioneered this discussion, I can come out and say, you see now, we want 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. I can go to Nyeri, I can go to Kirinyaga, I can go to Nandi, and I can go to Kisumu and tell people, you people, nyinyi watu, we want 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. Look at me, a privileged person, a cabinet secretary, who has got the means, who is part of a government where, for example, you are saying that this is really about a particular region, a region with 9 ministers, a region with a deputy president, a region with a leader of majority, a region with a deputy speaker of the Senate, a region with the chairman of the budget committee, a region with the chairman of the finance committee in the National Assembly, a region with a deputy majority leader in the Senate in the name of Tabitha Kalaja, a region which can meet today and say tomorrow we are going to go to that parliament and do what we need to do. We are going to go to that Senate and do what we need to do. A region where people, 9 people plus, a deputy president who can go to cabinet and put our case to say, listen, I can do a cabinet memo. I don't need to be persuaded by anyone, and I don't need to be forced. And I say, look, I want this clause on the sharing resources to be like that. But now we abdicate our responsibility as leaders to use the existing platforms, which you as Yvonne Okola does not have. And then we go and cry with the people down there who elected us to give them solutions. And we come there and ask them, look here, we want one man. What do you expect those people to do? That's number one. Two, we need to look for solutions in this country that unite this country. And it does not mean that you are wrong. Solutions that unite this country does not mean that one is wrong and one is right. It's just realizing that we are in this kind of a diverse country where we need to really be very sensitive for everybody. I don't have to be right for you to be wrong. You don't have to be right for me to be wrong. I think that the sense of responsibility that is bestowed on me as a leader is that really I have to rise up. I have to rise up. And I have to be, if me, I'm the minister of Kenya. If me, I'm the minister of people in a place called Nasewa in Busia, yeah? And I feel I'm the leader of the people in a place called Mavueni in Kilifi, a minister. What about a deputy president who is supposed to be seeing the entire country, who is supposed to be even seeing the president? So it's really a big concern upon us. All of us, elected leaders, everybody, you in the media, everybody, to know that this country is not just about your village, your county, it is really a diverse country where we need everybody together. And the principal ingredient we need, especially for the people where I come from a region where my people don't have land. The average land holding in Kiambu County is quarter of an acre. It's quarter of an acre. We come from a region, we don't have minerals like other regions have minerals. Turkana have oil, I don't have oil. We have got areas in this country with even more rainfall than our region. The best investment that people from my region, and I want to persuade them, and I will never tire from reminding them, is to invest in Kenya.
Okay.
To believe in Kenya. To invest in Kenya. Three, this is important, please bear with me on this argument because this is very important. We now are rolling out through the Ministry of Education a new system for financing university education through something we are calling means testing. That means I need to assess you if my children can afford, as Moses Kuria can afford, I can afford to pay university for my children, I should not be paid for by the taxpayer. But if somebody else, and it's working very well, I have to give it to CS Machogo on that. Now, beginning in the next 2 weeks, when we move to the Chief SHA, the social health and insurance, we are also using the same methodology to look at the needs of the people, which we are calling the people who need to be supported, in terms of we pay for them that they can't pay for the 2.75% for the health. That again is individual based. Imagine the next move we are going to do. We are now moving to the secondary education. Yeah, and I really want to champion this to push it, no matter how difficult. That means that I will be able to assess every child in secondary school in this country and see who can pay and who cannot pay, irrespective of where they come from highly populated, from less populated. Because yes, I belong to Kiambu County, but I have got an ID, a mother and a father and an identity. Why can't we focus on the child? Because this society has invested in educating us and giving us brains to use them so that we can come up with solutions which solve the problem without necessarily dividing the people.
CS Kuria, in line with that then, do you think the debate around Mount Kenya unity is a problem? The Deputy President has said calling for unity of Mount Kenya isn't necessarily exclusionary to the rest of the country. My problem of this talk of unity for what? To what end? Yeah? Unity to what end? Do you think it's a divisive? It is no, it is not just divisive. It is time wasting. It's a useless debate. It's a useless debate. Why? People of Mount Kenya region, in 2013, I've been around for a long time, unfortunately for me, I cannot write to the people. In 2007, let me start from 2002. 2002, people of Mount Kenya region divided their votes equally between, no, not equally, overwhelmingly for Mwai Kibaki, but still a lot of people, over 1 million people voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. 2007, to the man, voted for Mwai Kibaki. 2013, to the man, voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. 2017, to the man, voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. 2022, 84% voted for William Ruto. Isn't that unity?
Which other unity? So now, this thing of how can we keep unity? Even my good friends, the Ruyas, are getting tired of the same talk over the ages. They are telling Atwoli, give us a new story. Sasa mnataka tutoe kwa Atwoli na unity ya kila mwaka ikuje kwetu. Hapana, now it's time to talk about health. Now it's time to talk about agriculture. It's time to talk about jobs. Jobs not for my people only, but jobs for the people of Kakamega. Jobs for the people of Mandela. Jobs, realizing that if this country is producing, we had a very...
So you say it is a divisive conversation?
Time-wasting, useless discussion.
Okay. However, when Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua earlier on in this administration was speaking about the issue of shareholders and that there are some people who voted for the government who should be first in line when it comes to development projects, and those who didn't should wait back in line, was that not divisive? And to recall, none of you said anything about it.
Oh my God. Luckily, we are on Citizen TV. Remember when I was ranching the industrial parks? I was in Siaya. I was in Alego, in Siaya. I was in Liwa, in Homabay. I was in a place called in Nyamira, somewhere in Nyamira. I was all over. I was in Garissa, live on your TV station. Everywhere I was saying, when I was launching this, why I'm launching this industrial park is because every corner of this country has got capacity to contribute to our dinner table as a country. And I said that what I was trying to do was a reversal of sessional paper number 10 of 1965, which said, and I thought Boya and Kebake people were there at that time, that there are some parts of this country which are useful and other parts which are useless. And I said, even for my people, the best thing is when we are producing together, all of us as a country. And I said, even you, I told people, go to the speech, it was live on your television, and I told people of Siaya, buy your fish. And I told people of Garissa, buy your livestock. And I told people of Laikipia, by your horticulture, you are also shareholders in this country, if not by votes.
So do you think then that was divisive?
It was very divisive.
Okay.
It was very divisive because, and this country has got a lot of promise and a lot of potential. How I wish we just focus all our efforts. Yeah, how we just focus all our efforts in taking this country forward and moving the country forward. Because sasa, can I ask you a question? Even if I unite Mount Kenya people, nitawapeleka wapi? Then what? Then what after that?
Okay.
Yeah? If they have no food, then what? If they have no school fees, if they have no what, then what? It pains me. Because even the Bible says condemned is a person who misleads the people of God. That's what some people are doing now.
Is the Deputy President misleading the people of Kenya?
The people of Kenya.
Is he a divisive figure in your view?
He is a divisive figure. He is a divisive figure. He is going to, even for my people, he's going to lead to their isolation. Most important thing, he is wasting the space that we need, the mental, the emotional space that we need to focus on nation building, that we need to focus on ensuring that we create jobs and we develop every part of this country. By the way, I was with a guy called Kagiri over the weekend. Kagiri is an MCA in Samburu. Kikuyu man. What am I telling him? What am I telling him? What do you want me to tell Kagiri? That unite what? Where is Samburu in that discussion? What will Kagiri say to the people of Mara, to those Samburus, when he goes back home? And tell them, what are we doing to our people? Unless somebody came to the scene yesterday, and maybe they did, then that, and I'm just saying with utmost and profound respect to my boss, to my senior and my very close friend.
Because that was going to be my next question.
No,
he is your boss as the Deputy President. You've just said here he's a divisive figure. Paint for me a picture on the wall at the cabinet meeting that you had, and I know the cabinet is going to meet again on Thursday, just before the budget is presented. How do you then sit with the man who is your boss, whom you think is divisive?
That man respects freedom of opinion. And if you two things you should have done. There are only two options. One, if you wanted someone to lie to you, you should have called another person. You know me. I never lie. Yeah? You should have called somebody else who can lie. Or you should not have asked me that question. But me, I will speak my truth to my grave.
My last question to you, Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria. So the president had a conversation with the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Is he having a conversation with his current deputy over all of these things that we have seen playing out in the media over the last couple of weeks? Why aren't they talking? Because you say those are not issues.
I am sure they are talking.
You said those are not issues that,
I'm sure they talk about many things, surely. Who am I to know a junior motor in that pecking order for me to know?
I'm asking you, should they talk and then resolve these issues?
Well,
Numaya tent instead of having these public spats and proverbially airing their
I'll say
dirty
this,
linen?
because we are very courageous government. Remember, we got into government through very difficult circumstances. Everybody should talk to everybody. It is true, we should one team, but that can be...
Kenyans, Kuria, do not want to see what we have seen over the last couple of weeks.
True, but what we want is
with
the broader
one saying
conversation.
I see darkness, another one saying...
Let me tell you something.
So, I mean, my question is then, how do we tidy up conversations and
if I hear a conversation for this topic between the president and the deputy president, I will knock the door and enter uninvited. This is not about the two individuals. We are a team. And we are a government. My destiny is tied to the destiny of the president and the deputy president. My destiny is tied to the Kenya Kwanza administration. My destiny is tied to those people whom Kenyans, so faithfully trusted with the destiny of this country. So I will say, yes, you two guys, as individuals, in your individual rights, it's okay. But as long as we are talking about things that affect our government, I have got an equal right because I'll be equally measured by that conversation.
All right, thank you very much. I've seen one question here that I need to ask you regarding the majority leader of National Assembly. I suppose speaking towards the issue of the committee that you will be sitting in regarding the grievances that have been raised by retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. He says neither President William Ruto nor the government of Kenya or members of parliament will succumb to blackmail. No amount of sympathy, seeking photos, vernacular station campaigns, social media blogging troops will hand over billions to satisfy anyone's insatiable greed for power or money. You tonight have said the committee that you sit in to resolve those issues will essentially bend over backwards.
I think you are stretching your imagination too far. I don't think the leader of the majority party, I think because we come from the same county, we share some elements of DNA. I don't think he was referring to the former president. So please do some more research. Okay.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for coming here and being with us. We'll get into the feedback in a moment after this break. But Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria from Public Service, we thank you for making the time for us here on the program tonight. We look forward to what happens